Hi crafty friends, Shana from ShanoukiArt. I've been collecting some junk over the last few months in preparation for making a junk journal made from junk, including these lolly wrappers. Look at this beautiful color. I'm going to use these when I decorate the journal. There are so many possibilities. I saved this box from a gift my daughter got for her birthday. I love the acetate as it has a beautiful gold flower embossed on it. We can make some specimen windows or even pockets for our journal. We'll save that for the decorating part as well. I really try to keep everything. I even have this gold elastic that the gift box was closed with. I'm going to keep that. I think we can use that maybe for a closure. The tag, we'll keep that too. Besides the glue that I'm going to use on the cover, everything in this project is recycled. An old dust cover from a book. This is really vintage. I love that. And I'm going to use part of it for this journal. I'm going to save the cover with a beautiful image for another project. A piece of book page that I've used in another project that has some paint marks on it. Some pamphlets and advertisements, ones that you get in magazines or newspapers or in your post. I also have a couple of magazine pages. Some magazines are available for free. Check your local supermarket. An old calendar with some beautiful photography images on. This was my daughter's. There is some writing on it, but that doesn't matter. And I'm going to pick the one that's got these beautiful purples, and I'm going to use that for this project. This is a page from a front of a book. I've got an old dress pattern packet, some more advertisements, some used window envelopes. I have an unused certificate, some packaging from some craft supplies, another book page, some packaging from cosmetics, a brown paper bag, an old book page, a page from an old diary, craft supply packaging. I have an instruction leaflet, another old calendar, more colorful, some more diary pages, another calendar. You'll see me slow down as I page through some of these. My brain is working as how I'm going to use them. This is the gift box that my Mother's Day mug came in this year. I love the pinks and the flowers, so I saved it. I'm going to make some journaling cards for the journal. You can use old or used greeting cards, seed packets, little packets from gifts. I've kept a whole lot of tags and price labels from clothing and other items. I'm going to use those to make my journal cards. Another brown paper bag, a price tag, and then this is a local magazine that we get in our area. It comes once a month. The paper is actually nice and thick, so I'll use that. I have an old letter, and I actually have 2 of those Kingston News. You can never have too many, I suppose. I'm obviously not going to use every single piece in this journal. I'm going to select a few pieces and save the rest for another project. I love this brown paper bag with the green print on, and I still have the delivery note on the packet, so I'm also going to use that. I'm just removing the staples. I have a few Daphne's diaries from a few years ago, so I'm going to start using those pages too. And then I have this page from a scrapbook tutorial book that is really, really old. So I want to start using up those pages. This is an old catalogue from Kazaz's scrapbooking that I got for free at a paper craft show from a few years ago that's just been sitting and collecting dust. So I'm going to start using these pages too. A great way to recycle this paper. I never really looked at this book really closely. I just sort of roughly paged through it when I first got it. This was the first time that I actually looked at it quite so closely, and I was quite excited to find this page that had these beautiful colors that I thought was perfect for the front page of my junk journal with the words, "Art makes me feel good." I think that fits perfectly. And then I'm loving these color swatches, so I want to use those somewhere too. Who says junk has to be boring? And then I also have some used gift bags. These are from my daughter's birthday party. One of them I think is from mine, and I think I'm going to use these up. They've got beautiful prints, and they're nice and thick, so they'll make a good cover. I'm just deciding which one I'm going to go with. I think the pink roses win today. Before I make my cover, the first thing I'm going to do is start making my signatures so I can see what size they're going to be, and then I can cut my cover. First up will be the front page, and as this is rather large, this will set the tone for the size of the journal. I'm going to trim it slightly. I'm just going to be using a ruler to tear it down. I'm not going to have any kind of neat edges. And all the torn off pieces of everything that I tear, I'm going to keep. We will use these later for decorating. Look how pretty that is. So this is roughly what the size of our journal is going to be. I'm now going to go through all the other junk supplies, and I'm going to fold them in half to make the pages for my signature. Sometimes when you fold a page in half, it will be sideways. I personally don't mind to have any kind of text sideways. Some people don't like that. They like everything to be straight, but you can do whichever way you prefer, and if you don't like it sideways, just make it go straight. I will use the front page to measure for my other big pieces. There'll be all different sizes in this journal. I'll have bigger ones, really smaller ones. The idea is, since you're using junk, there will be all different sizes. I couldn't tear this, it was quite thick and the handles were reinforced on the inside. So I just cut it with the scissors and tore out the reinforcements. I don't care that it's tearing. It's meant to be junk. I love it. And then I'm just going to cut off the bottom end to open it and then cut out the front, which will be one of the pages in the journal. Another idea for a paper bag like this is you could actually cut out the parrot and use it as a focal point in some art journaling. You could even add additional colors to it. I love that some of these bags are printed and not just plain. And the side of the paper bag had this that said 100% recycled. I thought that was fitting, and I'm going to add that into the journal. This magazine is folded in 3, and I'm going to keep it as such. I'm going to keep the one side so it flaps open, so it's like a page extension. There is lots that we can do with that. I tore out a random page from an old diary, and then when I was tearing it, I realized it had this date. Anybody know what this date is? This is from an old calendar. It is really fun. It's got beautiful colors. I know not every calendar looks like this, but if you have one, you can use it up. The instruction sheet, we're just going to tear that in half and use half. This card is a little too thick. We'll give it a miss. As we're only making one signature for this journal, we don't want it too thick, although I'm struggling not to use everything. Just deciding if I'm going to use the big or small paper bag or both. For the window envelope, I'm going to tear off the tab that is sticky and fold it in half. We can make a great pocket out of this. For the dress pattern packet, I was going to use it as is, but then I decided to separate the front and the back and use it as two separate pages. For the magazine pages, I did mention that you can get some free ones at your local supermarket. That's available in Australia. They're normally ones that are for recipes. You also get some at like chemists or pharmacies where they have like beauty products in. Those are free and available. So it's something also you don't have to pay for. But if you have other magazines, of course, that you are finished reading, you could use a couple of pages from that. Now that I have folded everything, I'm going to see which ones I'm going to use. I really wanted to use them all, but there's just too many. So I'm going to start with my front page one and then just slot in some pages. I'm not going to be too picky as it's meant to be junky, and I'm going to trim them as I go. Now, I'm one that loves making junk journals, and I do love using printables and pretty papers and making the journals look pretty. And I know a lot of people comment and say, but junk journals are meant to be junk. But I think, yes, that is true, and that is how they started. But things have evolved and techniques have evolved, and really anything goes these days. So if you want to make it full of junk like this one, that is great. If you want to do part junk and part pretty, that's fine too. If you want to make it all just pretty papers and you want to purchase printables, that is also fine. It really is whatever you want, however you enjoy expressing it, and however you enjoy creating. Don't ever let there be constraints on how you create or why you create. Do what brings you joy. Okay, I think we're done with that. That's a lot more than I normally would put in a signature, but I wasn't quite sure what to leave out. I actually wish I could use it all. I love it all. And now that we have this, we can measure our cover. As it is a gift bag, I'm going to use the one side. The one side has got gold foil. The other side has got the same print but no gold foil. And I'm going to use the one without the gold foil. I'm going to save that for maybe a pretty junk journal. I'm also saving the ribbon from the handles. We're going to use that too. So using my scissors, I'm going to roughly cut out the front and the back. Don't throw away anything. These pink sides we can use for pockets. It is like Hoarders Anonymous over here. We're keeping it all and we're going to use it all. So I cut the front and that's got the foil, and then I realized I don't want to use that for this. I want to save it. So now I'm just going to cut out the back and put the other one to the side. So I'll fold this piece in half and then I'm going to measure the signature, and there are some folds on this piece, but that doesn't matter. I think it adds to the charm of junk. So placing the signature over the top of the folded piece, I'm just going to mark with a pencil about a 1/2 centimeter from the top and bottom and side. I cut my cover a little bit bigger than what my signature is. And I'm using a cutter for this because this paper won't tear well. It's quite thick and glossy. And save all those yummy bits that you're cutting off. Those are going to make our pockets. And that's a reminder to subscribe to my channel and then hit the little bell so you're notified every time I upload new content, because soon I will be decorating this journal with junk, and I'd love for you to see that video too. So I feel using just the gift bag as a cover is a little too soft. It needs a little bit of reinforcement. So I'm using the cover of the catalog, which is quite a sturdy, thicker card, as the inside of my cover. It has a pretty print, so it's going to all match up and look nice. It could also be just plain cardboard. Remember, it's whatever you have. I'm using Mod Podge to add the two covers together. I'm using a thick layer and I'm covering the entire surface. You could also use craft glue or gel medium. And then I'm placing my gift bag paper over the top. These florals don't matter, but the other cover has a right and wrong side. So I just made sure that I've stuck this down so that the front cover, when you open it, the writing on the inside cover is facing the right way. And also I want those big pink roses to be the front of my journal. I need to put this to the side now and allow it to dry really well. Just cleaning up all the Mod Podge mess, and then I'm going to prepare all my other pieces for my journal. I have the ribbon that was from the handles. I was thinking of tying it together, then decided I have a better way of putting this together, so I'm going to leave that as is. I also have the gold elastic from the closure that I'm just going to prepare, as that's going to help me close this journal. I like that it is elastic, so it leaves a lot of capacity for the journal to get chunky. I'm going to clip all the pages together to keep them in place when I stitch them in. I use bulldog clips and large paper clips, whatever you have, to try and keep everything aligned. And it's okay if it's not perfect. Now that my cover is dry, we're going to gently fold it in half, trying not to tear or get anything unstuck. We're just going to press it down, and that's going to be the spine of our journal. There is some excess all the way around. I'm just going to trim that down with my cutter. Again, I can't tear it like I normally like to tear. The card is really thick and glossy. It won't tear well. I know I'll probably get some questions regarding using Mod Podge on a shiny surface. I've never had an issue before where anything has come unstuck. If there is an issue with this one later on, I will let you know, but I normally use Mod Podge on most surfaces and I've never had an issue. Now that's looking good, it's fitting in really well, and it's ready for us to sew it into the cover. My usual go-to for stitching in signatures is the pamphlet stitch, which requires 3 holes and embroidery thread and an embroidery needle. I'm doing something different for this one. I'm going to do just 2 holes and use the pink ribbon to tie this all together. I'm measuring the center point to start off with, and then I'm going to measure from the center point up 6 centimeters and from the center point down 6 centimeters. So there'll be a 12 centimeter space between the 2 holes that I'm doing, and I'm using my awl to punch those through. And then using the cover as the template, I'm going to place it on the inside of my signature, and I'm going to punch through all the way to get the holes in the same place for the signature. This one was a little tricky. I think there was just a lot of papers and some thicker cardstock, so it took a while to get everything through, but we managed to punch through all those layers. And now I'm going to see if I can thread this ribbon through those holes. I'm using my embroidery needle, which has a really large eye that fits the ribbon, and then I'm going to try and sew that through. It was a little tough to get it all the way through, but I used my pliers to gently tug at the needle to get it out. It eventually came through. So the ribbon was in two pieces from the handles, so I'm putting each piece through each hole and then we're going to tie that off. I'm going to tie the two middle ones into a knot. That'll be the center of my journal or the middle signature. I'm going to pull that quite tight. And then I'm going to pull these ribbons through and I'm going to tie them off. I want to first tie it into a knot so it holds in place. And then I want to tie the ribbon into a bow. The ribbons are satin, so they are fraying on the ends. I just want to fix that. So I'm using a lighter just to burn off the ends, which causes the satin ribbon to melt and sort of finish it off so it doesn't fray. Now, please do not burn the craft trim down. Doing this, be very, very careful if you are. You could also put a touch of glue on the end and leave that to dry so you don't have to use a flame. Well, I'm really excited about this journal. I think it's turned out really, really cute. I have that piece of gold elastic, which was from the gift box, which I'm going to use to keep this journal shut. And I've decided, so I don't spoil the ribbon that is on the spine, I'm going to tie it long ways on the journal. So I've just measured where the knot needs to go, and I'm going to put that over and then just trim off the excess. I like that it's elastic because it allows for the journal to become quite chunky and it'll still keep it all together. I'm now going to do a quick flip through so you can see all the pages and how it all fits together. I really hope you enjoyed this video and were inspired to collect your own junk and create a journal. Do watch out for my upcoming video where I decorate this journal. I will be using just junk to decorate it. When I got to the middle of the journal, I realized that this piece just behind the centerpiece was quite loose. It didn't manage to get any stitching done as it was a lot smaller than the rest of the pages, and I didn't like how it was quite so wobbly, so I just pulled it out. You can't adjust the journal as you go. That's perfectly okay. We can use that for making a tag. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch. I really hope you enjoyed it. Happy creating, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.